Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Pada Jaya, Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Purvakacharya Satara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Purvakacharya Satara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Shaima Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Maya Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Yogya Ki Jai. Priya Mridanga Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Transcendental Krishna Prasadam Distribution Ki Jai. Go Premanandi. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Thank you. It's yours. Okay. I'll give you back. Hare Krishna. Welcome to Sri Sri Radha Kalachandji Temple Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we are studying Canto 10, Chapter 14, verse 29 to 41. And we will discuss text 34 in detail. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Kala Chanji Radha Kala Chanji Radhe Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sam Tato Jaya Mudiryeta. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतं तं श्लोके bhaktir naistiki. By regular attendance in the class on the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental song, established as an irrevocable fact. Since we'll reading multiple verses, texts, so first we'll read the translations and then we'll go to 34. Now I'll do the Mangalacharan before that. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Talpakarubhesha Krapa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we'll start with the translation from 29.
My Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many years.
Text 30. My dear Lord, I therefore pray to be so fortunate that in this life, as Lord Brahma, or in another life, wherever I take my birth, I may be counted as one of your devotees. I pray that wherever I may be, even among the animal species, I can engage in devotional service to your lotus feet.
O Almighty Lord, how greatly fortunate are the cows and ladies of Vrindavan, the nectar of whose breast milk you have happily drunk to your full satisfaction, taking the form of their calves and children. All the Vedic sacrifices performed from time immemorial up to the present day have not given you as much satisfaction.
How greatly fortunate are Nanda Maharaj, the cowherdmen, and all the other inhabitants of Brajabhumi. There is no limit to their good fortune, because the absolute truth, the source of transcendental bliss, the eternal supreme Brahman, has become their friend.
33.
Yet, even though the extent of the good fortune of these residents of Vrindavan is inconceivable, we 11 presiding deities of the various senses, headed by Lord Shiva, are also most fortunate, because the senses of these devotees of Vrindavan are the cups through which we repeatedly drink the nectarian, intoxicating beverage of the honey of your lotus feet.
My greatest possible good fortune would be to take any birth whatever in this forest of Gokul and have my head bathed by the dust falling from the lotus feet of any of its residents. Their entire life and soul is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mukunda, the dust of whose lotus feet is still being searched for in the Vedic mantras. My mind becomes bewildered just trying to think of what reward other than you could be found anywhere. You are the embodiment of all benedictions which you bestow upon these residents of the covered community of Vrindavan. You have already arranged to give yourself to Putana and her members in exchange for her disguising herself as a devotee. So what is left for you to give these devotees of Vrindavan, whose homes, wealth, friends, dear relations, bodies, children, and very lives and hearts are all dedicated only to you.
My dear Lord Krishna, until people become your devotees, their material attachments and desires remain thieves, their homes remain prisons, and their affectionate feelings for their family members remain foot shackles.
Text 37. My dear Master, although you have nothing to do with material existence, you come to this earth and imitate material life just to expand the varieties of ecstatic enjoyment for your surrendered devotees.
There are people who say, I know everything about Krishna. Let them think that way. As far as I am concerned, I do not wish to speak very much about this matter. O my Lord, let me say this much. As far as your opulences are concerned, they are all beyond the reach of my mind, body, and words.
My dear Krishna, I now humbly request permission to leave. Actually, you are the knower and seer of all things. Indeed, you are the Lord of all the universes, and yet I offer this one universe unto you.
Two more. Yeah.
My dear Sri Krishna, you bestow happiness upon the lotus-like Vrishni dynasty and expand the great oceans consisting of the earth, the demigods, the Brahmins, and the cows. You dispel the dense darkness of irreligion and oppose the demons who have appeared on this earth. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, as long as this universe exists and as long as the sun shines, I will offer my obeisances unto you. Shukadev Goswami said, having thus offered his prayers, Brahma circumambulated his worshipable Lord, the unlimited personality of Godhead, 3 times, and then bowed down at his lotus feet. The appointed creator of the universe then returned to his own residence.
Yeah. So we'll go back to 34, text 34. Tadbhuri bhagya meh janma kimyanthavyam yad gokulepi katmangri rajobhishekam yajjivitam tu nikhilam bhagwan mukunda Svayapi yatpad rajah shruti mragya-meva. Bhuri bhagya meha janma kimapyatavyam yat kulepi katamang krishyo bhikshekam. Api yat pad rajah shruti mrigyameva yat puri bhag yatavyam yat ko that Bhuri Bhagyam, the greatest good fortune, Iha here, Janm the birth, Kimapi any whatsoever, Atvavyam in the forest of Vrindavan, Yat which, Gokule in Gokula, Api even, Katama of any of the devotees, Angri of feet, Rajaha by the dust, Abhishekam bathing, Yat whose, Jivatma life, Jivitam life, Tu indeed, Nikhilam whole, Bhagwan the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mukunda Lord Mukunda, Tu but, Adyapi even until now, Yat whose, Padarajaha dust of the feet, Shruti by the Vedas, Rigyam sought after, Eva certainly. Translation: my greatest possible good fortune would be to take any birth whatsoever in this forest of Gokul and have my head bathed by the dust falling from the lotus feet of any of its residents. Their entire life and soul is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mukunda, the dust of whose lotus feet is still being searched for in the Vedic mantras. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This verse indicates that Lord Brahma desires to take birth even as the smallest blade of grass in Vrindavan, so that the holy residents of the Lord's abode may walk upon his head and bless him with the dust of their feet. Being realistic, Lord Brahma does not aspire to directly achieve the dust of Lord Krishna's feet. Rather, he aspires for the mercy of the Lord's devotee. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that Brahma is willing to take birth even as a stone in a paved footpath in the Lord's abode. Since Brahma is the creator of entire universe, we can just imagine the glorious position of the residents of Vrindavan. The Lord's devotee achieved their exalted position by unalloyed devotion and love. One cannot achieve such spiritual opulence by any puffed-up material process of personal improvement. In Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Srila Prabhupada reveals the mind of Brahma as follows. But if I am not so fortunate to take birth within the forest of Vrindavan, I beg to be allowed to take birth outside the immediate area of Vrindavan, so that when the devotees go out, they will walk over me. Even that would be a great fortune for me. I am just aspiring for a birth in which I will be smeared by the dust of the devotees' feet. So this is what I understood. This is the mood of servant of the servant of the servant, which is really the theme and the mood of the prayers, that when we are praying, one is why do we pray, and what is the power of prayers? First of all, it really helps us to become and come in the mood of servant of the servant, which is what we keep hearing, because it allows us to bring the humility when we are praying. It allows us to create the feeling of gratitude, which eventually becomes very strong, which is important in the path of bhakti, both humility and gratitude. It allows us to also depend on Krishna and Vaishnavas, on their mercy. And it allows us to build very, very strong relationship with the Lord in the personal form. And it takes us away from Mayavad thought process. And there are many more attributes of prayers. And here Lord Brahma, who Srila Prabhupada is describing in the purport that he's the he's pretty much, not just pretty much, he's the creator of the material world, and he has all the opulences. The opulence of his abode is much more than Lord Indra's abode's opulence. Yet he is taking this humble position and he's praying to the Lord that how can I be in such a position, or even the stone in Vrindavan, that somehow I get the Vraj Raj, the lotus, the dust of the lotus feet of the Braja Vasis. And if I don't get that, can I be outside of the Vrindavan, so that somehow when somebody is sweeping that area, somehow I'll get that Braj Raj. That is the mood Brahma is praying. And we know from all the study of this canto and this chapter in the Brahma Vimohan Leela, how Brahma wanted to test Lord Krishna, and in that process he was humbled by learning that this boy that he was trying to test is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we also understand from 13th chapter of 10th canto, where in the purport Srila Prabhupada write that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that it was actually Yog Maya. And so Krishna's desire to create this whole Brahma Vimohan Leela. And there were two purposes that was described. That one was to humble Brahma, because he had this thought that he wanted to separate or felt that, is this boy Krishna? Is this boy Supreme Personality of Godhead who killed Aghasura? Is the same person who's playing with the cowherd boy? And second is to fulfill the desire of the devotees who wanted Krishna as their child. So many times when I was growing up, hearing the story of Indra and Brahma, often I felt that, oh, look, I'm hearing this story. I must be greater than these personalities, Indra and Brahma and several more devotees. But in this process, we forget that, and especially because I really did not hear Srimad Bhagavatam, just these stories comes either in the form of media, TV, or somebody's telling story who do not know Srimad Bhagavatam or the details. But until associating with the devotees at ISKCON, learned that these are very exalted devotees and they are not an ordinary personality. Brahma is one of the Mahajans. Mahajan means one who knows Lord Krishna and one who knows how to build relationship very well. And he's one of that personality. So he's not an ordinary personality, and we are so fortunate to be part of the Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya. It starts from Brahma himself. So, and then as he's praying, Lord Krishna, this beautiful conversation keeps going between Brahma and Krishna, that you have everything, you have these opulences, why you want to be this and that, and Brahma is insisting, no, I just want to be the servant of the servant. I would rather be somehow I want to get the dust of the lotus feet of the Vrajavasis, and I really want to get to a position, because I have also offended you, Lord, by trying to test you. I really, really want to take that humble position, and in that process, he comes at Namacharya Haridas Thakur, who is born in the lowest of the class, considered. In fact, at that time, if one who is born in that class, and if one of the Brahmins who would see, they would use Ganges water to purify themselves, just because they saw that person. That is where he was born, in that situation. And then he started chanting the holy name of the Lord and became Namacharya. Yet he kept the humble position. And when he left his body, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself did his last rites. Such an exalted position that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him. But for us, so there are various stories and various incidents we have heard that what is the significance of Vrajraj, and sometimes in the mood of just visiting that place without understanding how to visit Vrindavan, how to get Vrajraj. In my case, my house is very close to Vrindavan. It's about 3 hours away in India. But because not knowing the glories of Vrindavan, I and many others, we would just visit a tourist place and not understanding what is Vrajraj, what is Govardhan Parvat, what are these amazing places. The first thing we would say, okay, we would judge it. Oh my God, this place, I can't walk without shoes. This is not the right place. Or where is the food? I'm going to have my lassi there and maybe chola bhatura, etc. I mean, that was the thought every time we would go there. And when Jagannath Pandit, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Parshad, when he was going to Braj, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu giving special instructions. The 3 instructions were, do not mingle with Brajvasis. Only walk with Sanatan Goswami. You do not go in Vrindavan without Sanatan Goswami. And do not stay too long in Brajtham. And as I was trying to understand the commentary behind it, the summary what I understood was that why should we not mingle with Brajvasis? One is they are at different level. They are doing certain things and we thinking that, oh, I am chanting 16 rounds. Oh, I am coming from SCON. Oh, I am in this lineage and hence I will judge them. And they are not chanting, I am chanting, I am superior. And that is one of the transgression we can do in Brajtham. So that is why special instruction was given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not to do that. Only walk around in the Brajtham with Sanatan Goswami. Do not climb Govardhan hill. Right? Do the Vraj Parikrama with Sanatan Goswami only. Do not leave his sight even for a moment. And he has actually blasphemed Sanatan Goswami. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to make sure he humbles him that no, Sanatan Goswami is definitely superior and you must follow his instruction. And besides that, if you are not with someone like Sanatan Goswami, you're going to make more offenses in Vrindavan. I remember in 2018, when I visited from here, this is the story when my father passed away here in Dallas, and some of the wonderful devotees asked me that you must take the ashes to the Keshi Ghat. And I had no idea where Keshi Ghat is. Though I visited, but I never visited in that mood. I visited as, okay, let's go. It's vacation time, just go to Vrindavan. So I did go to Keshi Ghat. I asked where the devotees where it is, and when I reached there, it's such a beautiful place. Somehow, with the mercy of devotees, even though in Yamuna now you cannot actually put ashes, it is not allowed. Somehow, with the mercy of devotees, all the arrangements were made that how the ashes that I'm bringing from Dallas can I take to the middle of Yamuna river. But the more important part was that as I was approaching there, a lot of girls of her age actually approached me and my family, take flowers, and they were literally after us. And so we took flower from 3 or 4 of them to take to the Yamuna. And as we were in the boat. We did all the ceremony there. Somehow, all the arrangements were made. We came back. And then suddenly more than 15, 20 girls came. And they started asking money for the flowers. And they were literally of our age. Probably, how old are you? 7? Yeah, so it's between 7 and 10. And initially I said, okay, I was trying to find which girl gave me the flowers, so I'm going to give some Lakshmi to her. And in that process, they were very angry. And they were so angry that I actually got scared that now the Brajavasis will actually come and start beating me here. What am I doing with these girls and why am I offending them? And then, somehow Srila Prabhupada's mercy and devotees' mercy, this thing came into my heart that these girls are Brajavasis. So if they are here, it is actually their mercy that I got this opportunity in flower to put the ashes in the Yamuna river. And I should do everything to please them. And in that process, of course, then I made sure everybody is very satisfied, every girl is satisfied, but that realization was so powerful that stayed in my heart all the time. That faces, that beautiful, the scene there at Keshi Ghat. And so I was able to relate that I should be careful because I will judge them based on their actions. So I should be very careful when I visit Vrindavan. So I try to do my best. I don't go often, not because I don't want to go, I just don't get an opportunity to go. But what if we cannot go to Vrindavan? What if we cannot get Vraj? What do we do in that case? How do we serve in the mood of Brahma, whose sampradaya we are in from? How do we get that Vraj? And I think at least, realization that I received when I was hearing His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj also on this topic, that Srila Prabhupada, after living in Vrindavan for so many years, actually brought Vrindavan to the entire world. And he is Vrajvasi. And his lotus feet, the dust of his lotus feet is Vrajraj for us. And we are so fortunate that Vrajraj is there in entire world now. Whatever country we go to, there is a Vrajadham for us. At Kalachandji Dham, he has put his lotus feet here at this place. So this entire place where now devotees are living is actually the Vrajraj for us. And so this is non-different for us than Vrindavan. And all the devotees are here. And then he also taught us how to be in the mood of servant of the servant by his own example. That how he served his own Guru Maharaj. And we know that famous audio where he's actually thanking his disciples, that how they helped him fulfilling the desire of his Guru Maharaj, and then he's crying at the end of it. And he's meaning it. That is the mood of the servant of the servant. And so as I was meditating on this, that it is so difficult to be the servant of the servant. And in our context, some of us who are, I think Mataji's Prabhupada's disciple, but most of us in the room are disciples of the Prabhupada's disciples. And from that perspective, we are technically the servant of the servant. Our Guru Maharaj is servant of Srila Prabhupada, and we are trying to become servant of our Guru Maharaj. But it's extremely difficult to be the servant of the servant. Because that mood of our disciples of Srila Prabhupada, I find it extremely difficult to follow, replicate, or even think through that what have they gone through, what Srila Prabhupada has gone to serve his Guru Maharaj, and what Srila Prabhupada's disciple have gone through to build this community where we get the Vraj Raj and not even realize that how fortunate we are. And so a few more minutes here. As I was hearing the class, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, in the context of this, tells the story of Sridhar Kolavecha and the conversation between Nimai Pandit and Sridhar Kolavecha, that how Nimai Pandit every single day would go, you all know the story, but I'll say a little bit anyway, and just negotiate and bargain. Imagine, starting and then finally say, no, you give it this for free. And Sridhar Kolavecha, after 2 hours of negotiation, conversation, and going back and forth, finally he say, okay, you take it for free. And every single day they would do that. And there was so much of pleasure. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also driving from that. Not just Sridhar Kolavecha, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was driving from that. And of course, we know that Sridhar Kolavecha is eternal associate of the Lord. The picture that we see there, Lord Krishna, who is having meal with his friends. I don't know which one of them is him, but I heard that he's the close associate where he would help actually with all the pastimes in Vrindavan, in Golok Vrindavan. But then he invited, when the Mahaprakash Leela was happening, and then he asked his devotees to get Sridhar Kolavecha. They did not know where he is. He said, you go, you will hear this chanting of the holy name, and you will find that, and this poor guy who's selling bananas, bring him here. So they go, they heard the chanting, and they say, okay, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has called him, and he said, what? Why me? Eventually he goes there, and then when he sees Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he faints in ecstasy and in the mood that I am not worthy of being here. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him the boons. He said, I'll give you whatever you want. I'll give you liberation. I'll give you all type of siddhis, whatever you want. And he kept refusing. And finally, when he insisted, he said that, in every birth, please come to my stall and bargain with me for my bananas and spend time with me and take it for free. I just want that life after life after life. And that is also in the mood of Brahma's prayer, that how can I be that person outside of Vrindavan so that I can get, if I don't get Braj Raj directly, I can get the Braj Raj from the people who are cleaning the Braj. Just their dust of the lotus feet of those people, if I get it, my life will be complete. So with that, I'm going to stop here with more comments from all of you who know this topic much more than me and have studied this very well. But I am very grateful to Srila Prabhupada for giving us Braj Raj right here in Kalachandji Dham. And one more thing I'll say about Tamal Krishna Maharaj. In this example, we know that famous incident, I want to go to China, right? And so I was reading this and I kind of put it here that if we have time, I'll read the whole thing how he says, but I'll shorten it since we have less time. That when Radha Damodar party was quite energetic, and I was very surprised that, in that competition of serving Srila Prabhupada in 1975, Radha Damodar party generated $195,000 for the book fund. This is in 1975. I was amazed at what Tamal Krishna Maharaj has done through Damodar party. The 195,000 in 1975 is a lot of money through book distribution. So some or the other way, a lot of complaints went to Srila Prabhupada, and they were sitting, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj was sitting there, and people were coming, and so towards the end of it, he said, before Prabhupada said anything, he told Srila Prabhupada, and he said to Prabhupada, I don't know what to do. Maybe I should go to China or something. I'm reading as it is. To go to China was like going to moon, he said. It was said like that. Anyway, I walked out of the room. The next morning, right in middle of Aarti, Prabhupada's servant tapped me and said, Prabhupada Prabhupada wants to see you. I said, I'm not going. I'm not going up to see him, and I'm not going to China. Finally, I had to go to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, I want you to go to China. And I said, China? The Radha Damodar party, I have to be there? He said, no, I want you to go to China. And then he walked out to go to the bathroom, brush his teeth, freshen up for his walk. He came back, put his tilak, he said, I want you to go to China. I started to give excuses that if I go to China, what is going to happen to the party? Prabhupada said, don't worry about the party. His bottom lips started to quiver, his hands were shaking, and he said, don't worry about the party. And I said, but that is an important service. Then he said, then I take that service away from you. You have no other service to do now. Either you go to China or you sit in Mayapur and chant Hare Krishna. There is nothing else for you to do. Guru Kripa was sitting behind me. This is Tamal Krishna Maharaj is saying. And then he said, I will go to China. Prabhupada said, no, he must go to China. I was sitting there going, oh. Then I suddenly realized, wait a moment. The Radha Damodar party is meant for Prabhupada's pleasure. And if by going to China, Prabhupada will be pleased, my life is made. So I immediately looked at Prabhupada and said, okay, I am ready to go. Prabhupada beamed. We went upstairs because Prabhupada would walk around and around on the roof. He announced, Tamal Krishna Maharaj is going to China. Everybody went, Jai Haribol. Prabhupada turned his heavy situation into a glorious act. He was so expert. He never said too much about the whole thing. He never said to me, people are complaining about you or this or that. He found a way to connect the entire situation and open up something wonderful for Krishna. He found a way to turn what appeared to be a negative situation into a positive event. But Tamal Krishna Maharaj's mood that I will do anything for my Guru is same thing what Brahma is saying, what we heard in Sridhar Kolavicha's story, and that is what he reflected also. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
You
Krishna.
ended with a amazing, like a pause, like I don't feel like saying what I wanted to say. But since I said, I raised my hand, so I will anyway. Thank you so much. I was thinking when you're talking about the Dham, Vrindavan Dham, like when we were going for the first time, we were told like be careful around Radha Kund. Like so much of caution was given. Don't give money to this one person you give, then everybody comes, take candies, etc. You know. And then when I went first time, it was my dad departed that time. So it was after 5 days he departed. I was extremely torn because I left the Shraddh and came for this. And like I left my mom. And not a single Brajvasi disturbed us.
Yeah.
Not, and I was, we were there for 6 days, 7 days, and I was thinking, not now, maybe in the afternoon, maybe in the evening, maybe tomorrow. Like I wanted to see who disturbs me. But then somehow, but I was not scared. They will ask for money and we will just talk. What will you do with the money? And he'll, I want to buy candy. I said, let's go buy the candy, like me and Prabhu, you know. And we will talk through them. And if one wants juice, we will give to two, and then we'll say, that's all we have. But we did not feel threatened. So it's, as they say, the Dham is as living as the deities are. So what's in your heart is what's in front of you. The Dham reciprocates how your heart is towards it. So if we're scared and we think they're here for us to take money, then that's how it is. And if we think, you know, by taking whatever we have, they're liberating us from the attachment. So we take it as a, you know, we are serving them by giving. So that's how I was feeling for Vrindavan, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. We have heard your classes when you came back from Vrindavan. That was so beautiful. That how you described every place. She wants the mic. I think what I understood, that it is not that Brajvasis will offend us, it is we who will offend Brajvasis by judging them. And that is what we have to be careful. That is what I understood, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, very good reminders. Actually, every time we go to Vrindavan, which happens to be my favorite place, but every time we go, Gokulananda Prabhu is always reminding me, be very careful, these are Vrajvasis. Just don't say anything, these are Vrajvasis. They're very elevated. But I'm always reminded of something that you touched on, that His Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj said in one of his classes when he was talking about Vrindavan. So often, even you're speaking of from a non-devotee point of view, going as a tourist, but even devotees, we often don't have the correct mindset when we visit Vrindavan. He says sometimes devotees think, I'm just going to quit my service and I'll go to Vrindavan, but even that is just, an enjoying mentality. But he says, Vrindavan is not cheap. It is revealed through surrender and devotion. When the order of our spiritual master becomes our life and soul, and we are willing to serve anywhere in any way, only then can we understand what is Vrindavan. Vrindavan is only revealed to a pure, unmotivated heart by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, not by our own efforts, chanting, or austerities. And I thought that really lends well to how nicely you presented Lord Brahma, of wanting to be a servant, of just simply not wanting to enjoy Vrindavan or more Leelas with Krishna, but just to become dust so that he can serve the Vrajvasis.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you for sharing that. I have personally felt a number of times, 4th day in Vrindavan, I start offending.
Elaborate on that, Prabhu.
As Prabhupada said, we should spend maximum 3 days and 3 nights. So 4th day, I always
4th day.
felt I start.
We should leave from on the 4th day. Is it? Oh, okay. Okay. You can use this, Mataji. Jaishnav. Yeah. Okay.
Haribol, thank you so much for giving class, Premchandra. I know that your work schedule and all your responsibilities caring for your mother, everybody sees that you're fully engaged all the time. And thank you very much. I'm sorry we had stuff to deal with outside. That's why I came back in late. But I'm noticing on the focus verse, Srila Prabhupada's saying in the purport that they conclude those who are bewildered, they conclude that the spiritual reality is to be found somewhere beyond the Supreme Personality of Lord Krishna. Sometimes such fools consider Lord Krishna to be one of the many individual souls who together constitute a single impersonal spiritual entity. And this is the part that I was hoping you would comment on. Unfortunately, such speculators are not inclined to hear from the Lord himself or from the Lord's authorized representatives, such as Lord Brahma. Because they whimsically speculate on the nature of the Supreme, their ultimate result is confusion and ignorance, which they euphemistically describe as the mystery of life, quote unquote. So my question is that how do we avoid, we get these realizations very strongly and we have the convictions very strongly, but how do we avoid somehow that critical mentality in the heart? Because it's said that a pure devotee, it's a little bit dichotomous, because a pure devotee is free from the propensity to find fault with others, but yet we have to discriminate. So there's a difference between discrimination and fault finding. And I was hoping you would comment a little on that. Thank you, Prabhu.
I'll share what I understand, Mataji. Discrimination and fault finding. in the relationships between devotees or in any situation, if one is that when we want to make correction somebody, then we have to understand that, do I have an authority? Am I authorized to do correction? And from that mood, we can approach other person to do the correction. Second part of discrimination. So instead of fault finding, it is correction, because I am now, that is my responsibility, that is my service to Krishna. In that also, I realize that I myself, many times, thought comes judging some, even Prabhupada disciples. And over the period of time, I learned that it is an offense. I am judging from my material mind, thinking that they should do like this, they should say like this, without realizing their realizations of lifetime with Prabhupada are transcendental. And of course, if we understand from chapter 14, is that 3 modes of material nature? I think chapter 14, right? If we understand from that chapter that pretty much everybody is trapped into this body which is subject to these 3 modes. And if we can take that point of view, we will have a little bit more tolerance, that everybody's trying to be good to Srila Prabhupada, to serve him. But at the same time, 3 modes of material nature are so powerful that somehow that thing comes as if person is behaving in a way that they should not, and I want to correct the person. But when we take a step back, and when we look at this, that, okay, this is Krishna's energy, and they are also trying to make it. They're also trying to serve their Guru. They're also trapped into this body. We approach that discrimination in a very different way, and not in a fault-finding way. And I experience that in my home also. I mean, there are times I have argument with my mother, with my wife, with my daughters. And in that moment of the heat, my own 3 modes of material nature take over, and I cannot appreciate what they are doing, and I try to do fault finding. But with the Guru's mercy and Srila Prabhupada's mercy, after a few minutes, I have made a point that I want to take a step back. And I think, okay, these are the 3 modes. This person also trying to make it. It's a problem. I have the same problem. Let me help this person. Same thing, now I started applying at work. At work also, I started applying the same principle, that when I'm dealing with people and I feel that they are not doing the way I want them to do, even if I'm in the position of, they are working for me or people that I'm working for, I really take a step back, that what can I do? They are suffering with 3 modes of material nature. And if I can't explain them, I just move out. So that's how I learned to, one is, how do I reduce fault finding? I still do that, but how do I reduce fault finding and discriminate for the right reason? But I know there are much more explanation for this. That was my realization. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Perfect answer. Prabhu, thank you so much. Jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, thank you. My question is pertaining to one of the verses, which is text 33.
Yeah.
So in this verse, Lord Brahma says that, I'll just read it. Yet even though the extent of the good fortune of these residents of Vrindavan is inconceivable, we 11 presiding deities of the various senses, headed by Lord Shiva, are also most fortunate, because the senses of these devotees of Vrindavan are the cups through which we repeatedly drink the nectarian, intoxicating beverage of the honey of your lotus feet. So I'm just curious, how is it that the senses of the Brajavasis are the cups through which the demigods, or presumably the devotees also, are able to drink the nectar of Krishna's lotus feet?
Thank you, Mataji. It is question coming only from you, only for my own purification. because I know you can give large purport or lecture on this topic. What I understood is that the senses of the Brajavasis are transcendental and spiritual. They are not material senses. And the senses of the demigods and humans are on a material platform in the material body. So when we are getting the nectar through Brajavasis, we are actually getting the transcendental honey rather than we trying to use our material senses, which is tendency to enjoy. That is how I understand, but I would rather have you comment, or Gokulanand Prabhu, if you can comment on this. Prabhuji can comment. Share, Prabhu, please.
He says he's not qualified, and yet we know the qualified say that.
But the person who asked the question is the most qualified to answer, actually. but because I'm sitting here, I had to say something, but I would love to hear from you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I asked a couple of other senior devotees. I sent a text message to a couple of senior devotees about this question just now, so I haven't got their answers yet. But I was thinking that, I mean, we're hearing the pastimes of Krishna, and we're hearing about all the different Brajavasis, how they're serving Krishna using their senses, and we're relishing the pastimes, and they're creating the pastimes that we relish. Right? If it wasn't for them, these pastimes wouldn't exist. So the way that they serve Krishna with their senses creates a nectar. It creates the nectar of Krishna's pastimes, tavakatamritam, right? Which is, for us, it's tapta jivanam. It's like the life, it gives life to us who are burning here in the blazing fire of material existence. So, yeah, that's my thought on it.
Thank you, Mataji.
I wanted to hear some, I had my speculations about it. I just wanted to hear some different perspectives. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Further question is that the devotees are addressing the deities on the altar. Their senses are completely spiritualized because they can't even be on the altar like that. They can't touch the Lord's paraphernalia unless they're completely spiritualized. So, beta tafa, one yet different.
It is the mercy of the Guru Parampara that we, in my case at least, I think that I get to go to the altar, whereas I know my senses, my desires are very contaminated, but only because of the causeless mercy of the Vaishnavas and Guru Parampara and Guru, I get to go to the altar. So hopefully one day, with your mercy, senses will be purified, Mataji. My senses. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for nice class. I had a clarification, follow-up to Mother Kunti's question about fault finding and discrimination. So I was remembering Nectar of Instruction. So my understanding is that discrimination, we need to discriminate so we protect our Krishna consciousness, so we don't commit more offenses. Fault finding is satisfying the false ego. Is that understanding correct?
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying. You were making comment, right?
I just wanted to understand if that's the correct understanding.
I think so.
Okay.
He can confirm, Mataji can confirm.
Wait a minute, seriously?
So when Kunti Mataji was asking, Prabhu was answering. Yeah, so the discrimination and fault finding. So the thought was going in my mind. So I just wanted to confirm this, the correct understanding. Because in Nectar of Instruction, they talk about discrimination. So we need to do discrimination so we protect ourselves, so we don't do more offenses and degrade ourselves in Krishna consciousness. We do fault finding to satisfy our false ego. Is that the correct understanding?
I can only share my understanding in this regard. Yeah, what she's quoting is basically in the Madhyama Adhikari, right? Maitri, Karuna, Upeksha. So we have to discriminate when it comes down to things which are not favorable for practicing devotional service. But I would like to give a different outlook to this. I was thinking one time Sachinandan Swami, he spoke about 3 gates with regards to the lust. But then I think the same thing can be also applied here. He said the functions of the mind, as we all know, thinking, feeling, and willing. So when the thought comes, the lusty thought, he said, it is passing through first gate, thinking, we start thinking about it. And in Kali Yuga, we are pardoned, we are forgiven, even if it is not conducive, right? But then and there we have to stop and not let the thought pass through the second gate, which is feeling. Because once the second gate is passed through, then it's very difficult to control at the third gate, which is willing to do. And that will be put into action for sure. So same thing can be applied here, fault finding, I was thinking. So any devotees for that matter. There is one aspect, as we have heard, super soul is there in everyone's heart, so we have to offer, respects from a distance. But that doesn't mean, tiger also has super soul, so we go and embrace the tiger. Tiger Prabhu, Hare Krishna. This is what Radhanath Swami used to say always. Then he will say, Mahaprasade Govinde, something like that. No. Okay, he said jokingly, super soul is there in everyone's heart, so we do have to offer respect. But that doesn't mean we go to anyone and everyone embracing, like tiger, for example. Tiger also has the super soul. So that is with regards to discrimination. And with regards to fault finding, again, thinking, if there is any nasty thought coming, as you spoke about Prabhupada disciples, senior devotees, or any devotees for that matter, that if that is happening on frequent basis, then we have to introspect. Without introspection, I like Mother Devaki, the other day she made this point. Without introspection, we cannot advance. So we have to introspect continuously. That thinking has to be curbed at that very first gate itself. What am I doing? As Gauranga Prabhu always says, don't judge anybody based on that person's actions or reactions to you. Always think, what is that person's relationship with Krishna? What is the service that person rendering? Right? What is it doing to Guru and Srila Prabhupada's mission? So that is like a safety net. So the thinking gate itself we are curbing, right? And we are not letting it to allowing our consciousness to feel how that person is not a devotee, and so on and so forth. Then finally, if we fail to curb at that particular gate, then obviously I'm going to offend that devotees some other point of time.
So it's 8:40, 10 minutes past the breakfast time. So okay.
They changed the prasadam breakfast time, everyone, to 8:40 a.m. so that we can relish these
that's not bad.
Srimad Bhagavatam discussions.
We finished on time.
You did, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.